really did think that I had dealt with so much of that I was a stronger person. But I think when this happened, maybe because it wasn't trolls this time, it was like a real life thing, I just wasn't equipped for it in the way that I thought I would have been. I wish I could go into what happened, but I can't.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So Anna today, so it's a bit of a sad one really with Anna. I feel like she has made quite a few of these types of videos now where she basically comes on and she says, I can't tell you what's the matter, but I'm really, really upset. I can't tell you what's happened. It's to do with one of the kids, but I can't tell you and I'm really, really upset. In this video, it was titled something like, I'm going to therapy, etc., etc. And I'll play bits to you. She's basically detailing how she feels because an incident happened to do with one of her kids, but it wasn't to do with online trolls. It was like online trolls, but in real life. Now, of course, we can all sit here and speculate over what could it possibly be, which child is about. I don't feel like that is our business. I do think, and I'm sure I'll reiterate it several times, I feel like Anna shelters herself a lot. And by sheltering herself, I mean, if you've been watching them for a long enough time, you'll know that Anna doesn't really tend to leave, well, she doesn't really show her leaving the house for very much other reason than recently going to go see Matt. She goes and does the school runs, and this is just what we can see. So she could very well lead a double life behind the scenes, but even she says that she's quite introverted. She likes keeping herself to herself. She doesn't even go and do the daily shopping. She honestly doesn't. She gets everything delivered. She has the dog walkers. And to me, an outside person looking in, she doesn't seem like someone who has an abundance of friends. And that is not purely speculation. I've watched her for quite a long time. She's said very much that she's an introvert. She has a best friend, Matt. And, you know, she's had several people that she's really become friends with in the past, and she's mentioned them, and then we don't see them ever again. I'm not throwing shade here. I'm just saying that, to me, I always get the impression that Anna tries to keep herself to herself. And whenever things happen or things that are said outside the home, they really, really get to her, because this isn't the very first time that she's gone, something really, really crap has happened and it's affected me in this sort of way. And she's saying that it was a real life event, and this happened not that long ago. I do feel like what she does go on and say that she really did hit her lowest point, and I do have a lot of sympathy for her, and I do have a lot of sympathy for anyone who is severely struggling with their mental health. I do, and I can't help but also on the same token, what I will say as well is that the problem with quite a lot of these family channels, especially these guys, they actually said it in a podcast that they did recently where they allow their kids to read the comments, they allow their kids to see the horrible things written about them. They are expecting their kids to be able to deal with those sorts of comments and maybe even real life situations better than themselves, purely on the basis that they show their kids in that extent. They also let them read the comments, and some of the comments written about some of their kids are not very pleasant. I would hate to read that kind of comment about one of my own children. It's something that I can't stand, it when people start attacking the kids. I just don't understand it. I'm like I really don't. I don't have any time for it. And what I'm trying to say to this is, I feel like whenever anything does happen in real life that maybe is something to do, which I'm not sure, might be something to do with, you know, their family channel, maybe someone saw something and said something, whoever, because she's very extremely vague. I feel like a lot of family vloggers get extremely hurt and upset about comments which are made about themselves or their kids or whatever, but then they don't think about what it will then be like for a child that didn't really ask for any of this, getting any kind of in life trolling comments. Anyway, I'll play you the clip. I might just be rambling, but I'll play you the clip and you can see it for yourself. But once again, she is talking in certain areas about this, about her mental health and about really not doing very good. So little trigger warning right there.
Recently things have not been so great, and I don't know if you would have been able to tell, probably not, because I've not spoken about it. So I've just now kind of started posting again, and I feel like I'm ready to sort of talk about what happened. I have been having a really hard time getting over what happened. What happened, it was extremely hurtful for not just me, but like for our family. It involved one of the children, I'm not gonna say which one. Not trolling, like nothing to do with trolling. And yeah, it just hurt so much more than anything else I think that I've ever experienced with so far as, you know, I'm obviously excluding deaths in a family and things like that. They're like massive, but you know what I mean? Like it's up there with some of the worst stuff that's happened.
I am potentially one of the biggest nosy parkers you'll ever meet, hence the reason why I have a YouTube channel that revolves around commentary. But I just feel like context is so key here. Context is so key. She says it's not to do with the troll. She says it's about one of the kids, and nothing else tops it. Nothing else apart from bereavement will top it. And I don't want to sit here and speculate, but unfortunately, when you're given nothing, when you're given nothing, but then you're told that it's quite serious, but she's deeply upset, but she doesn't want to say anything, it just makes your mind wander. And I can't help but feel, because she has done this before, I don't know. I do believe what she says when she says she has been really, really affected by something. Don't get me wrong, I do. I'm not being here like, oh, it didn't happen, because I'm not like that. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here. But I don't like it when people come on and they go, oh, something really, really bad's happened, but I can't tell you about it. But it's deeply traumatic, but I can't tell you about it. And I'm going to title the thumbnail to do with it as well, and the video title, but I can't tell you what it is.
And it was incredibly serious, but it was kind of brushed over. I trust a lot of people and I give them the benefit of the doubt, and I have done that my whole life, and I've never changed, even after having experienced, you know, severe trolling and like the worst of the worst when it comes to, you know, people trying to track us down or trying to ruin relationships and, you know, things like that. Like trolling can be insane, especially when you're at a certain level online, and even when you're not. I've seen it happen to much smaller creators and much smaller influencers out there. It just can be relentless.
See, the last time Anna did this, she was talking about an incident that happened at the school gates where she felt like she was bullied, or there was like a bullying incident towards her, and I can't help but wonder if it's something quite similar. Because like I already say, I feel like Anna tries to keep herself to herself, but I also feel like Anna wants more friends, or she can only, I don't know. I get this idea that Anna just doesn't have a very big selection of people, and they keep themselves to themselves, maybe because they fear public opinion, maybe because they've been, she says, trolled, you know, cancelled so many times. Maybe everyone knows who they are, and that's the reason why she's more reserved. But I understand what she means when she says that she's been trolled. I do also think that they have trolled a lot of people, and I do also think that they do not help themselves, and they have made extreme errors, and the fact that they will not take the sort of overriding hint and maybe just back down off of social media for the sake, if anything, for the sake of their kids, because a lot of people do not like the SACCONEJOLYs. A lot of people have a lot of negative things to say. They let their kids read the comments. Their kids are going to grow up, and what happens if their classmates see this kind of stuff? What happens if, you know, they then get bullied because of it? I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility, and I can't help but feel like that might be one of the main reasons why Jonathan and Anna keep themselves to themselves. But maybe I'm just looking too far into it.
And I really did think that I had dealt with so much of that I was a stronger person. But I think when this happened, maybe because it wasn't trolls this time, it was like a real life thing, I just wasn't equipped for it in the way that I thought I would have been. I wish I could go into what happened, but I can't. But I found out that there's other people that have also experienced this, and it's quite shocking. I'll be completely honest, and I just want to put a trigger warning if, you know, anyone that's in a vulnerable state is watching. But I did initially feel like, what was the point of me even existing? Like, what was the point of me being here? That's how bad it made me feel, and I know it's so frustrating because I can't go into what actually happened.
And yeah, just for the record, mental health is no joke. Mental health is serious, and everyone needs to spend a bit of time just getting to know themselves and understanding and working through their own issues. Lord knows I have massively struggled with my mental health, and if anyone out there needs help with their mental health, go and seek it, go and get help, because it's not something to mess around with, and sometimes it will just sneak up on you. And that sounds like a bit like what Anna experienced, although because she's so vague, no one is to ever know. But she's definitely mentioned this sort of thing before, and I know I have already said this, I've already pointed it out, but I do think that what we're going to find with a lot of these family vlogger kids, and I will bring the point back to this because I do know that they read comments. I do know that. They have said this so many times. They've recently said it. I do think that there is going to be an influx of severe poor mental health going on with a lot of these family vlogger kids who are going to be reading these comments, and it really is going to get to them. And I'm not saying that's what happened, because that doesn't sound like what she's describing. But I just wish that Jonathan and Anna would just take a moment of self-reflection and realise that what they are feeling and what they have been feeling and how they've been going out with the trolls and just moments of absolute desperation, their kids could be going through that at some point as well. And, you know, I'm not taking that away from Anna. Like, I want her to do well, you know. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you know, I told you so. That's not it at all. I want her to do well, but I just wish that they would have that same self-reflection.
You mums out there will understand when it's something to do with your children, it just like attacks you at your core, which is what my mum said. She was like, I get it. It's like your kids, it's just everything to you. So it's your core being. And I haven't really felt this way in a long time, because I've processed, trust me, I've processed my dad's death. He died over 10 years ago. You know, I've processed it. I'm not that I'm over it. You never get over it, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of past that whole initial grieving process. I cried every single day, and I just found myself really wishing that I had him to give me advice or just tell me it would be okay. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm a 35-year-old woman, but a lot of times I feel like a 15-year-old and I still need my dad sometimes. I'm
trying just to sort of like edit and skim through a little bit, because a lot of it is quite personal towards her dad. However, what I will say is I remember watching them years ago, and she was talking about recovery from an eating disorder and things, and I swear there was this whole bit about like her not believing in therapy, like her just not seemingly not needing it. However, this is quite evident that I feel like therapy would have been quite important, because you could see that she was starting to break down there. I don't want to psychoanalyze her, but you could see when she mentioned her dad, she started breaking down. And I think therapy, there's obviously got to be some underlying issues there. And I'm only saying that as someone who has been through so much therapy. I've been through cognitive behavioural therapy about 3 loads of times to do with various different issues that I didn't even realise were issues, but are issues. And it's just amazing what therapy can do.
And I think it's just because I was put in such a vulnerable position where I was questioning every single thing. And for once it was nothing to do with like trolling. It was trolling on a different level, but like, you know, in real life more so. I was talking to Jonathan a lot about it. He was like basically talking me down off a ledge in a lot of cases. And there's only so much that he can do, because, you know, he's very close to me and he's my husband. So it's just a different situation and a different relationship. But he really, really recommended therapy, and he kept saying it over and over. I do think it's probably something that I should take into like professionals' hands. I do feel a lot better now. I will say that I feel so much better today since yesterday, but it's still early days. And I do think to have someone to just talk through everything and like process everything that happened.
Honestly, therapy just works in the most amazing ways that you didn't even know is possible. Like, anyone who's actually been to therapy end up telling the therapist exactly what the issue is without you even realizing what the issue is. honestly, I've gone in there and slowly but surely I end up unraveling, oh, this is why I do this. And I end up saying it out loud. I'm like, where did that come from? I'm telling you, therapy. But I do find it quite interesting how Jonathan uses his platform as a literal diary, honestly. And he does his therapy chats as well. And Anna is a lot more vague. Way more vague. I think she definitely does keep herself to herself. I've always said that she's a bit naive. I don't know. I get this feeling that she struggles navigating friendships, but that is just from, honestly, it's just from my own personal opinion. It's from watching her for a long enough time. I feel like she must have, I don't know, she does go into a bit more detail in just a second.
And again, I'm not trying to be like secretive and stuff. It's just, it's a really serious thing and I can't talk about it freely because if I did, I would, yeah, there's just other people involved, right? And it's really hard because I'm not that person. Like, I'm not a cynical person and I always give people the benefit of the doubt and I always want to believe people. But now I think I'm just that bit warier, and maybe that's just something that comes with age because Jonathan always says, like, you know, he's like that anyway. He's definitely the stronger one. But I was targeted alone initially and I didn't really know how to react.
See, she said that Jonathan's like that. Jonathan keeps himself to himself, doesn't really trust a lot of other people. I always got the impression that Anna's a bit like that. Anna has a best friend, Matt. But the way she says that she was targeted, but supposedly it is about one of their kids. And the thing is, I know there are going to be some people like, Amy, why are you speculating? Why do you care? She didn't want people talking about it and speculating. Why would you put it online? Otherwise, you're just using it as a diary that no one can respond to. Do you see what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to speculate what child it's over, but I do think maybe they were called out on some stuff. Maybe they were called out. I don't know. I just get this impression. And this is not, if this was the very first time this has happened in a very short space of time, I'd be like, okay. But Anna, not even that long ago, if you guys remember, she was sat in her car and she was detailing about the fact that she felt like she was bullied at the school gates, or she felt like some of the mums were being mean to her, or whatever the case may be. So it's a pattern. It's something that keeps on happening. And do you know what I mean? If you feel like you're being bullied or being attacked, you need to speak up and say something like, yeah, this is what happened. You know, if you feel like you are justified and that you were in the right, you need to stand up for yourself. But she's then saying it's about one of her kids. So I don't know. I don't know.
And I did kind of just allow people to walk all over me. And now that that trust is broken, I think I'm going to think really carefully about just who I let into not just my life, but my children's lives as well, you know?
I understand what she means. I understand the sentiment. She wants to keep herself more closely guarded, even though I was under the impression that's what they did anyway. But to say we're going to be careful about who we let into our children's lives, they are all over the internet. Sorry, that's my stomach rumbling. They are all over the internet. What do you mean? Their lives are on the internet. People know everything about them. You've already let people into their lives. How do we not know that this conversation that you had with someone, or you were bullied by whoever, how do we know that this wasn't because of something that they'd seen online? The fact that these guys just can't see it, they just can't see it, they're oblivious to it. And yeah, it's a massive shame. I just hope that their kids don't grow up, you know, feeling like they're being bullied, feeling like they're being attacked because of stuff that their parents have put online. Because who are we to know? She won't say, but this is the second time in a very short space of time that she's come online and said stuff like this is happening. But I wish her well in therapy. I hope it really works out for her. And yeah, that's all I can say, because therapy is amazing. And I feel like she sounds like she needs to work through something. Work through some things. Cannot talk today. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.